Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun. Oh, good afternoon, everybody. Did you catch that? I wasn't ready. I had it on the wrong screen. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, crap. No, guys, so much stuff has happened today. I thought it would be fun to get together and just have a little bit of chat, look at what happened in the market, talk about the VP pick. Ooh, the drop was fun, Vlad. Oh, man. Should we talk about that first? Let's talk about that first. We'll do that. We'll go over the market really, really quickly. I'll try and explain what I saw. It was, whew, what a market. Let me tell you what. Let's go over to the chart and let's talk about the market first. And we'll talk about Kamala Harris being chosen as Joe Biden's vice president pick. And then we will, look through some of the Wall Street bets tiers for the day, huh? Okay. So here is a footprint chart in the E-mini. As you can see, when we're looking up here towards the higher levels of the day, not all that much unusual orders or anything like that. It does appear that they were trying to hold price. Buyers picking up some contracts, and you can kind of see that in the delta here was reasonably okay. If we come over and we look at it from this chart right here, it becomes really, really clear. Let's really zoom in here. I know that this looks like a crazy mess, but once we zoom in here, it'll not look so crazy, okay? So here you go. Longs in most of the day here. You can see the long inventory far outpacing the short inventory. Okay, so they were buying up all the way through here. Actually, right here in particular, trying to, make it bounce back up again. And it looked like they were maybe going to be successful. But then news hit from Mitch McConnell that basically that stocks were at a standstill. It did not look very good. And that's when we got this just absolute plummet. And man, did it plummet. I mean, it plummeted. Now, the thing is that the longs were still kind of loaded up, so they kind of had to puke. Now, over here in the treasuries, let's show with the footprint chart. Over here in the treasuries, oh my gosh, such a strong downturn. And this, I think, was people are expecting inflation, and we had some bill auctions and everything else. This was some crazy selling. Down here at the bottom, just before the options pit closed, there was some prices trading over 100,000 contracts down. All of these guys just trying to trade into the close. Absolutely insane turn down. And then as soon as the options pit closed, they pulled up a little, and then that news hit that pushed the markets down. And so we saw a pretty aggressive move back into the treasuries. And, this was the regular session right here. So they very quickly retraced the whole regular session move. Okay. Just a real, super crazy. Now the real one, the one that is everybody's talking about, man, is gold. Oh, gold just decimated. I have some guys in chat, and I'm not going to say that they have, let's just say I don't know if they'll be right or not, but I'm seeing people targeting 1,800 in gold. Can you believe that? Somebody picked up volume 10 minute before, right? Yeah, it's just the move down in gold is just absolutely crazy and really kind of counter to everything that we would think. Like, everything is going down. Normally that risk would move gold up a little bit, but we didn't see that at all today. Currencies, dollar up a little bit. overall the dollar recovered, but it isn't super significant. They're still like at these resistance levels around 93.6. Yeah, that whole thing. Oops, wrong button. So very, very interesting day. And Vlad says crazy algos. I think that was probably a big part of it. It looks like that there was a quant unwind of some positions. So as we talk about this a lot today, there was some rotation and they were moving into value stocks. And then this whole thing came out that the deal wasn't going to happen. I thought that the market knew, but apparently they were absolutely clueless. And so after they had already were in the middle of like a huge rebalancing, they all got, pushed out of positions and freaked out. So you ended up with this just insane move down in like everything. Yeah, like a deer in the headlights. It was weird because the reaction to the sell-off was like dip buy, but then it was falling because of super sell pressure. Yep. Well, the market on close report was a huge sell side imbalance. So these guys just totally bailed. It was interesting. Okay, so in other news, let me pull this stuff over here. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the vice president pick for Joe Biden, which is anybody surprised? Oh, Tesla. The Tesla 5-to-1 stock split. I don't know if anybody will care, but they were pretty negative today too. No. Anyways, let's move on. Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is the VP pick. Actually can show you here and predict it. It looks like her. It was. I believe that it was leaked. Yeah, here we go. So now it's 99%. But look at it going into it. She would, before the announcement was made, they were at 65. Could have bought it then. You could have made, an okay little profit. It looks like though that maybe it was leaked. It's kind of interesting. Now, but going back over to here, did it affect anybody's opinion about how the election is going to go? Well, the markets did go up a cent. That's probably nothing. So I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, KR says, nope, we've known about Kamala Harris being VP for weeks. I think so. Well, I mean, there was a whole thing about, I remember them saying, oh, they're like prepping for her to be the VP pick. But then there was this whole thing about it's somebody else. And that's why it got delayed. And then we got this thing. And then all of a sudden, really quickly, it's Kamala Harris. I think it may have been the case that they didn't really want to pick Kamala. Oh, by the way, I need to come over here. I'm sorry. So you can see. Let me just show you guys here again. If you're watching on replay or whatever. Harris, it got leaked early apparently, and you can see here race mostly unchanged, right? Anyways, I think it may be the case that Joe Biden was actively avoiding picking her. Like, I think that they kind of knew that the far left doesn't really like her. We'll go into that. I'm gonna drop all of the dirt for you guys, okay? Because here's the thing, there's a lot of dirt on Kamala Harris, and you don't want to ever get surprised, right? Ding, ding, ding. I was very on the market yesterday, more neutral today, and it crashes, of course, because it's the best. Yeah, I saw some people trying to make the case that the reason it crashed was because of Kamala, which is silly, but I digress. Listen, I'm going to go through all of the negative stuff about her because, one, I'm a Republican, and I want the Democrats to lose. But number two, you shouldn't be surprised, right? Something that I've seen before is negative news comes out about your candidate and the market reacts to it because people didn't really know about it. So like, let's just throw out all of the dirt. Now you have all of the dirt right at the beginning. You are informed. You're not going to be surprised by anybody telling you anything. And if you vote for them or not, up to you. I'm sure you're still a good person. Okay. But let's talk about the dirt. Okay. So the first thing that I think we should talk about is it's just really funny. Anybody that he would pick to be his VP, they just have so many good sound bites about between Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. I mean, if you didn't see this in, I believe it was like the second debate in June. Yeah, that was so long. It feels so long ago, doesn't it? Okay, which let's see here. Which part was it? Oh, Kamala Harris. Okay, on the issue of race, I couldn't agree more that this is an issue that is still not being talked about truthfully and honestly. There's not a black man I know, be he a relative, friend, or a coworker, who has not been the subject of some profiling or discrimination. Growing up, my sister and I had to deal with the neighbor who told us her parents said they couldn't play with us because we were black. I will also say that in this campaign, we've also heard, I'm going to now direct this at Vice President Biden. I do not believe you are racist. I agree with you when you commit yourself to the importance of finding common ground. I also believe, and it's personal, it was actually hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country. It was not only that, but you also worked with them to oppose busing. There was a little girl in California who was part of the second class to interrogate her public schools. She was bused to school every day. That little girl was me. I will tell you that on this subject, there cannot be an intellectual debate among Democrats. We will have to take it seriously. We will have to act swiftly. As Attorney General of California, I was very proud to place a requirement that all my special agents would wear body cameras and keep those cameras on. So she just absolutely destroyed him. It is a man. It was a good exchange to watch during the debates. But you recall, after she hit Joe Biden on this, he dropped. Like, he was at the top of the pack. And then this debate happened, and Kamala Harris almost single-handedly destroyed Joe Biden's campaign. And it was only when everybody else basically self-destructed at the end and man, I'm going to have all their names mixed up in my head now. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren kind of like went at each other and just kind of fizzled out. And it was only then at the end that they all were like, I guess we have to go with Joe Biden, right? This debate exchange right here. And it is going to get replayed over and over and over again because Joe Biden opposed the busing in schools. He opposed that. So, curious that you would pick her. That's the first one. Okay. Second one is I want to go back to Tulsi. So we talk about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was doing really well. I had money on Kamala Harris, remember? And then this happens. You're going to vote for good old Joe and Kamala? Oh, good grief, Sunday. You joker. I'm sitting here and I'm like, the most ridiculous thing that Sunday Driver could say, because we all know that he's a dyed-in-the-wool hard right. He's saying he's going to vote for old Joel and Kamala. Oh, man. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. There are so many memes. About what to call Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's campaign. I was joking about it on my Facebook. I'm not going to do it on YouTube here, though. Kamala is the pick, and here you are, late live streaming in her honor. She's a good pick. She has cojones, and I think she may have more masculine energy than Mike Pence. Oh, man. I don't know, man. So the thing is it's like the most, how do we say? I mean, it's the least surprising pick, right? He said he wants to pick a black woman. Well, there was only one black woman that was running for president, right? It was doing well. Kamala Harris, that I recall. Although there's more on that. We'll get back to that one later. Yeah, everybody, she was always kind of the front runner, and then it kind of turned into, well, Kamala would be a poor pick because of all of this, because she was a prosecutor and because of all this Black Lives Matter stuff going on, right? It was the most conventional pick, really. Anyways, I got distracted. Going back here, so this is where it really, really hurts her, is that the whole thing is Black Lives Matters. Well, Tulsi Gabbard just destroyed her in this debate, right? I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people across this country today. Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor resident. But I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California, and she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way. So again, remember, Kamala Harris was a frontrunner for the Democrat nomination until Tulsi Gabbard came along and murdered her on live television. That's why they waited until interest in BLM went to shit? Maybe. I don't know if interest in BLM has completely died out. I certainly still read a lot about the riots and I'm interested in it, but I'm a weird person. So anyways. Okay. Next piece of dirt on Kamala Harris that we're going to talk. The San Francisco ghosts in Kamala Harris's past. Few outside of California know or care who Willie Brown is, but that may be about to change. Brown spent around a quarter of a century as the de facto royalty in California, first serving more than 3 decades as a member of the California Assembly, 15 years as its speaker, and then 8 years as mayor of San Francisco. He also once carried out an open extramarital affair with a young prosecutor named Kamala Harris, currently a U.S. senator and leading contender for the Democrat presidential nomination. So this is a story from the Washington Examiner. You can look at it. But basically, Kamala Harris was 30 years old and Willie Nelson was 60, and they had an affair. And he did all these political favors for her, and that is how her career in politics started. Man, he was 60. Ew, that is so gross. I think about that. I don't think about that. Not like that. You know what I mean, though. It's so gross. I can't believe that's what she did. This one has kind of been swept under the rug, but it's going to come out in a big way because all of the guys on the Donald were just calling it Joe and Ho 2020, which is hilarious. It's vulgar. You know what? It's true, but we're not going to promote that here. Okay. Anyways, so that's the next one. The last one, this one is funny because here's a Snopes article and they say, oh, this is unproven. But Kamala Harris's father wrote an article. And in this article, he says, my roots go back within my lifetime to my paternal grandmother, Missy Christie, nee Christina Brown, descendant of Hamilton Brown, who was on record as plantation and slave owner of Brownstown. So basically, in this article, he says that his ancestors were slave owners. So Kamala Harris's ancestors were slave owners. So as a pick, does she make a good pick or not? Well, this is tough. This is tough to say. Market doesn't seem to think so. This is all pot kettle black from you. You'll vote for Trump? Sure. Sure I will. But we can go through all of the dirt about Donald Trump. I think you guys all know about the dirt about Donald Trump. And quite frankly, if this was an open election, like we get 4 years from now, we'll still be around. And the vice president will be chosen for the Republican side. And I will share with you all of the dirt for the Republican. Because I think that you don't want to be surprised. The more of the dirt that you know right up front, the better. Get all of the super negative stuff swept out of the way, and then when it comes up later, you can just kind of laugh about it, right? If you don't know about the dirt, then it'll come along, and it might surprise you, right? So that's why we go through all of it. I think though she's probably still a strong pick. And here's the thing. I felt like that she was the most like get them done, capable appearing person that in the Democrat field. And the issue with Joe Biden is that he is senile. So if you want to pick somebody that appears competent and could handle being president if it so required, I think that she's probably your best pick. It's just that she comes with such high negatives, probably higher negatives than almost anybody else they could have picked. And I tell you what, the Republicans are just having a field day with it today. They were all waiting for it. The guys on the Donald had been saving up all of their memes about Kamala Harris because they thought that she was going to be the pick. And when he was picked, they literally have hundreds of quality memes saved to go after her. It's really crazy. So that's what's going on over there. You say the cognitive dissonance with Republicans is mind-numbing. I don't know what that has anything to do with Kamala Harris being vice president. Tesla is down. I don't think that a 5-to-1 stock split really helps them. But we'll see. It was needed. I'll tell you that much. It was definitely needed. I'm surprised that they didn't do it 10-to-1. Oh yeah, man. So you want to look at some memes and then we can just kind of go freeform. You guys can talk about whatever you want. Man. So remember we talked about so I always like to go on Wall Street bets after a down day to kind of get an idea of how badly retail trading was hurt, because that seems to be a really good indication of like if the money is shifting or not. If we have a down day and they're all fine about it, then might just be nothing. This thread in particular, so salty. They gave all of these poems here. You can read some poems about stocks going up and so forth. I thought this one was hilarious. I don't know if they banned the guy or not. I think they may have. My entire account has been wiped. I am down to a single quarter. Welcome, McDonald's. May I take your order? Okay. This one, look at this guy's portfolio. There was a few spikes up. What are you doing? It's over a year. You must have just been in one play with options or something. I don't know what he was expecting, but that was pretty bad. Right. You watched that stuff crash for 10 months and not once thought to yourself, maybe I should try something different? Hey, you know what? The calling of the trader, it's irresistible, folks. You're going to go into it. We can't help it. Is everything dumping? I started to look at multiple stocks around the 3:15 to 3:20 p.m. mark. It looks like there are a lot of things randomly dumping. Metals, ETFs, individual stocks. Does anyone else see dumping across the board? Top reply, yes, very much so. Something smells fishy, and it's not your wife. I thought that one was hilarious. I'm taking a dump right now. My gosh. It's the market crash. Everybody abandoned ship. I don't know. There's a lot of salt. Let me show you some of this salt. Where's my SLV gang at? So gold got hit. Silver got decimated. Oh my gosh. Silver got decimated. Well, the funny thing is most of these guys sound pretty defiant about it. My calls expire in October. I will hold till green or let them expire. Okay. I've never been so flaccid in my life. Could have sold yesterday for a nice profit, right? It was like still up big yesterday. I can't. It's really crazy how quickly that turned, isn't it? Down 16K at the open for the day. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's just back to where it was 7 days ago. Okay. Buy here. Well, you know what? I think there are some cases to maybe buy. I don't know if from a technical market positioning perspective that this is where you want to get in at, but for all we know, it's going to be right back up there tomorrow. There is but look at how long this thread is. Look at how long this thread is. Look at how many guys were in SLV in this ETF. And they were playing calls on it and everything. Holy crap, guys. Look at this one. You effing tissue hand pussies, hold the SLV. What dick did you asses take to make you such whining gay little bitches? Why are your fucking hands made out of used tissue paper? Hold the effing SLV. The price of SLV is where it was 5 days ago. No stock goes straight up without a pullback. This is completely normal and it will go to the effing moon by end of year. It's going to $40 whether you are in or not. $23 and $27 is the same effing difference compared to where it's going. Time in hands, you tards. By the way, if you bought far out of the money FTs that expire on 8/14, then you're retarded and you got what you deserved. So, like I said, a lot of defiance. But I think it's funny that they think that, oh, you just have to hold or something. Like, dude, it has nothing to do with that. There is a global rebalancing going on. Will it be up again? Will gold be up later in the year or not? I can't say. I can't say. SLV shares getting, man, and again, so many people join the wave. That guy definitely wasn't Silver Game because he still has a roof over his head. Some of these guys lost a lot of money, guys. Whew. For such hard metals, some of you have one-ply toilet paper hands. Long expirations will just be fine. What do you think the economy is going to survive on? We're in no better position than the last stimulus bill? Well, I'm not so sure that that's why it's moving, but if that's your investment thesis, have at it. I just buy puts at the bottom. Udor. Anyways. Oh, here's the one guy that shorted silver. And look at all of the hate he got. F-U, L-ban. Pretty. Yeah. So that was the day today. So, shall we? Lewis says, oh my, she will be president soon. Biden is on his last leg. Did you see that when he was making the announcement to, extend the offer to Kamala Harris, so he made like a video and he had to read it off of his phone? You need a A9100 says in Discord, Seth, you need a wig. You know what? If you guys send me a wig, I would wear it. I would never buy myself one because I don't care. But if you guys bought me one and you wanted me to wear it, I'd do it. I wear a different wig every day. That would be tons of fun. We could do that. Maybe we need to set up a PO box or something. Maybe in the future. If Mitch is still upright, Biden can live forever. I don't know, man. If you watched Mitch lately, he was talking on the Senate floor earlier today, man. Mitch is a spunky old man. This is a weird thing to say. It's a spunky old man. Who was it? What was they saying earlier? Somebody in Discord was talking about him. Oh yeah, Sploink was saying, I divested all equities last week and I'm glad I did. I plan to buy this garbage all back at a discount. Thanks, Mitch. Thanks, you little Arkansonian turtle. He does look, Mitch looks old. Don't get me wrong. But he is very, very lively. Very, very lively. So some weekends at Bernie's stuff. Oh, that's you, KR? That's funny. Don't like the Republicans. I don't. AOC for Fed chair. Oh my gosh. They're gonna, you know what? Like, you wonder if they get, if Biden wins and everything, and they're gonna be putting people on the Federal Reserve, are they gonna put an MMT promoter on there? I don't know. I don't think that they would be able to get through, but who knows? Crazier things have happened. I don't know. To be honest, I just find the whole political thing amusing, to be honest. Like, Donald Trump says crazy things, no question about it. Usually when he says stuff that everybody gets so offended at, I'm laughing my head off. I think it's funny. They put Bernie Sanders on the Federal Reserve, but please no. Andrew Yang. Put Andrew Yang in charge of the federal budget. I mean, don't get me wrong, guys. I have my own bias for sure. But we talk about it. Some people don't like to talk about the politics. I say, if you don't like to talk about the politics, probably not going to be too good at trading, because the government is the economy at this point. Hopefully they fix that. But you're trading, the only thing that really matters to the market is what the government's doing at this point. And if Joe Biden's going to die and Kamala Harris is going to be president, that matters. I don't know how you make a trade off of that Joe Biden's going to win the presidency, die, and then Kamala Harris becomes president. I don't know how you play that one, but there's got to be a play. There's got to be a play. We'll find it. Don't you think? Harris versus Trump. Well, that would be funny if Harris debated Trump instead. There's also still the conspiracy theory that they want to replace Joe Biden. Maybe it would make sense if Joe Biden dropped out and Kamala became the nominee. Trump will crush both of them with his wallet. I don't know. Well, Pence and Harris debating each other, I think, will probably be really interesting. I think that Biden and Trump will probably be painful to watch. Maybe Trump will get in some good moments and it'll keep it entertaining, but I bet you that it's just going to be a lot of talking over each other, and it'll be real vitriol. But Pence and Harris, I think that one will be. I think that'll be an interesting substantive. I hope. I'm hoping for a substantive debate in modern society. Maybe I'm asking too much, right? Everyone who is not in the 38% laughs at the idea that Trump is a successful businessman. Well, you are. There won't be any substantial debate. The is Trump a successful businessman thing is kind of interesting. Like, you realize that Trump is the guy that basically went, S&P 400, S&P 4,000 calls, or sorry, Spy 400 calls. He's the guy that Spy 400 calls, YOLO'd it, and got away with it. That's essentially what he is. He took extremely high risks and was lucky enough to not be, out on the street and destitute. Do you think it will be as funny as Trump and Hillary? I died laughing when I heard his comment about her being in. Oh man, yeah, I remember that. Oh, I was so into those debates, guys. I don't even remember a whole lot about them now thinking about it. I was so into those debates. I don't think that it'll be the same thing, Nagel. I just... William, what do you like to be called, William? I don't know. The thing is that if Joe Biden gives an inch, the left will totally disown him. You know what I mean? Like, there's always this tendency for politicians to go a little soft on him. Like, I was reading when Tulsi was going after Kamala Harris, or when Kamala Harris was going after Joe Biden. These were scathing attacks, and you guys were saying, "Oh, that's weak sauce." Like, right? The activists always think that it's weak sauce. They always think that. If Joe Biden goes to the debate and, it just does soft punches to Donald Trump, they'll be pissed. So I think that Joe Biden will be inclined to go out as aggressively as possible. And Joe Biden said some pretty aggressive stuff about Donald Trump in the debates. In fact, I think that he was the one that probably said the most. He was the one that was saying that, oh, his whole presidency is racist and all of this stuff. Was really actively pushing things that were like groups of people against groups of people. It's going to be a mean debate. And I think Donald Trump may say something. There might be something where one or the other says something that they make a really bad gaffe, or they say something funny and they get a good rip in, and it'll be funny. But I also think that there's going to be a lot of talking over each other and just absolute mudslinging. It is going to be a real brawl. I'm going to bet. Brad says, with options, take your money and run. Yeah. I saw this thread on Wall Street Bets about that the other day. And there were so many people that said, if I'm not up 1,000%, I stay in. Which in options is, man, they're gonna expire worthless. A lot of these plays that people are making. How'd everyone do in the market day trading? I thought it was pretty tough, but you did 2.28%. Well, that's not bad in this market. I have to tell you, William. So here we trade futures, or at least I trade futures. So for us, it's really more about how many ticks or points you got. So I took out 10 points in the S&P 500. I mean, the thing is when you look at how much margin you're using, that's like a 10%, right? That's like a 10% return on the margin that you used. But you don't use all your margin and all of that. So it's kind of a different kind of a take. So a percentage like that doesn't really make sense. So we just talk ticks. But I pulled 10 points up and we did okay. You trade the futures too? What did you make the most in, if I might ask? What play were you making? You trade full margin size. I want to know. I want to see somebody that just shorted that gold, man. I'm not. Well, let's come in here. Maybe there was some guys in metals. No, metals has been pretty. Well, actually, I need to scroll down here. Short gold out. Oh, Toucan took it, but he only did a little one. He got 5 to 6 points, and that was it. Man, just like when it was just starting. That's funny. I don't know. It looks to me like not a lot of retail traders were in on that. But trading the gold futures, that's a very illiquid instrument. So I don't see a whole lot of that. What's different about AAPL's effect on NQ and Tesla's? I thought that was a big driver of the increase. Well, so Tesla is not in any of the indexes, to my knowledge, right? They're definitely not in the S&P 500. But I think what you saw today was a broader thing, right? they were expecting some inflation to come in. I don't know. Maybe this throws a wrench in that whole trade, but the expectation is that inflation is going to pick up. At least that's, I believe, why the treasuries traded down as hard as they did. So if you're in inflation, then being in all of these tech names that were already really elevated doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Because everything is going to go up, but because those are the leaders, they're just going to go up with the rest of the market. And the rest of the market isn't actually going to be making money on a gold adjusted basis because you're getting the inflation. So you have to get into something that's going to be moving more than the market. So you have to get into the value place, right? That they were in NQ? No. I mean, I think that they're listed on the NASDAQ. I don't think that they're in the NASDAQ 100 index or whatever. Let's go. Look. NASDAQ Composite Index. No, I want composite NASDAQ composite companies, I guess. Here we go. Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Nvidia, Tesla. Oh, they are in the NASDAQ Composite Index. But their weight is significantly less than Apple's, right? Their weight is 2.387 and the Apple's weight is 13.386, right? Like Apple and Microsoft move, and that's like a quarter of the index versus Tesla. Very small point. Very small component. I expected all the Robinhood money to benefit from the, yeah. But the whole thing is that the NQ just got decimated today. It was really quite a down. It's a quarter of the country's GDP. I think they were saying that like the market cap amount was a lot. Brad says, I think you meant if Dems win, we will be up Schitt's Creek like never before. Well, the whole thing is kind of interesting to think about. Like, it really depends. So kind of stick with me here. This is going to require a little bit of like non-partisan thinking here a little bit. But then also trying to view it from the lens of different people, right? If you are the far left, okay, like these guys that are out on the streets in Portland every day, okay, they are pissed. They are very unhappy. Hello, Lucas. How you been? Did you do okay today, by the way? Anyways, these far left, the far left radicals. Yeah, I saw the squeeze coming, right? Well, I mean, I didn't see the E-mini completely dropping like that, right? I kind of said, it came down. I think that's it. Maybe it could continue, but I was really happy with our calls today. I don't know if I should have gone for more. I mean, it happened so late in the day. You know what I mean? I always see an upward swing on pre-earnings calls days for stocks with positive news. Why not just ride that wave every time? Jean, if you see any kind of technical pattern and it's working for you, then good for you. Just realize that there's no reason that pattern has to continue. And the more people that see that and start to trade it, the harder it's going to be for you. Slim, are you still trading? No. I mean, I have the markets open, but we're not taking anything. Anyways, what was I thinking? Oh yeah, Kamala Harris pick. Okay, so think about this from the perspective of a couple of different people, right? If you are a far left radical, you're mad because Kamala Harris was a cop basically, and she prosecuted people and all of that stuff that we said that we shared earlier in the episode about her, keeping a guy on death row until the court forced them to release evidence and then he was exonerated, right? These far left people, they are not happy with her at all. Okay. But if you're on the far right, well, on one hand, I think that people on the far right are actually a little bit happy about this pick because they think that it's a bad pick. Of course, they think that everybody's a bad pick, but there's a particular, a high degree of hate for Kamala in particular because there's more dirt on her, right? But then on the other hand, this also, she's pretty far left. Like, that's the thing that's crazy about it, right? So she has one of the most progressive voting records in Congress. She would probably 100% go along with many of the things that the Democrats want to put through. Let me put it this way. There are a lot of things that Joe Biden would say, no, we're not going to do that Kamala Harris would be totally down for. You know it's true, right? So the Kamala Harris pick, if you're a Republican and you're concerned about the direction of the country with these riots and you're afraid of the radical left taking over, the Kamala Harris pick does not help. It does not help. And I'm not sure where the moderates fit in this spectrum, but I'm going to bet that they probably don't know a whole lot about the like I was sharing at the beginning. I think you want to know what all of the negatives are so that you aren't surprised later. Because at some point, it could be market moving. Right? So, it's true that people protesting and burning stuff down don't vote for centrist Dems. Most of them don't vote. Most of them don't even bathe. It's so funny. Like, can you see, though? It's like you can't win either way, right? Because Kamala Harris is hated by their base because they say that she's a centrist Dem, but then all of the Republicans say that she's a radical Dem. Biden is not a radical far left Dem. He was back in the day, but he's relatively mild in comparison now. You can't win. It's kind of funny. I don't know if it really has any real impact on the race. If anything, it's just going to be a lot of meme fun, probably. Would you rather be on the far right with a shotgun and physical gold than eat soy, watch CNN, and buy Bitcoin? Right? Well, listen, I wouldn't mind having some physical gold. And I do avoid soy. So, Trump said, I thought she was the meanest, the most horrible, most disrespectful of anyone in the U.S. Senate during the Kavanaugh. Oh, totally. Oh, I'm sure that they're going to parade that stuff out too. I don't know. The whole Supreme Court angle, it kind of lost a little bit of momentum from the conservative side because there was one case in particular where they declined to hear the case where it was very, very clear that they should rule on it and strike it down. And by a 5-4 split, they didn't. And Republicans are extremely upset about that. And they're all saying, we got Donald Trump in there, but we still have these judges that aren't doing what they should from their perspective. Biden is on the radical pervert side. Well, yeah, so that's another interesting thing is, or something that we should consider is that the big push on Joe Biden is that he's too friendly with kids, public appearances, and they're pushing the whole Q conspiracy stuff pretty hard right now and child trafficking and stuff. I don't know if Kamala has any vulnerabilities about that. I would think not, but who knows? You guys act like you just learned who she was? Nah. Of course not. I really did think for a long time, though, that it was just too conventional and that he wouldn't actually do it. Like, really, think about it. She's got to be like the most conventional vice president pick that they've made in years. since before Bush, frankly. Well, to Bush. So he's the most conventional vice president pick since Dick Cheney. Every other one was more of a surprise than this. But I don't think that means that all of the dirt is out there. And I kind of wonder, with that as your VP pick, where does BLM go from here? Because the Democrats can't play the same game that they've been playing with it, right? Not with Kamala. So I don't know. Does that just die out? Now, do you want to repeal the 19th Amendment? No. We're not going to repeal the 19th Amendment. We can educate voters. We can change the culture and make people more aware of their biases and problems and types of voting tendencies that get us into trouble. That's what we need. Hillary called the Republicans deplorables. Harris will be meaner. Let's see what she says. I'm going to guess, if I was the Biden campaign, my take would be, don't say anything if you don't have to. The less that you campaign, the better. That's what they're doing so far, and I don't think that's going to change with Harris. Do you know any brown people you think because there's a black lady in the vice president's seat that BLM is irrelevant? I think that because you have a former prosecutor and cop in the vice president's seat that BLM is irrelevant. Now, yes, I do. Because if you want to push this whole thing about defund the police and that the police are the problem and everything, how do you say that when your vice presidential pick is the quintessential example of a cop abusing their power? You can't. The more that you talk about it, the more that it will just draw attention to all of the things that Kamala Harris has done in the past. And normally that would just kind of be like a negative drag on the ticket, but not like a huge deal. But because everybody thinks that Joe Biden is going to die in the next 4 years, it's a really, really big deal, I think. Douglas, doesn't the algos control the futures market? I don't think they do. I think that the market reacts to changes in expectations of the future. I thought that a lot of people realized that the stimulus bill wasn't happening anytime soon. Apparently, some people didn't. Apparently, some algorithms didn't. I think that maybe some algorithms hit it and, washed people out of positions. But nobody controls it. The futures, there's definitely some algorithms out there running amok, though, that I wish we would get a tamp on. Did you know that Hillary actually got paid billions by my country's leadership to fund her election? It's actually money from my country, and my country is poor. Yeah. To talk. I mean, I know what you're talking about, Salim, but to talk about it, I think I would have to go and reread my info on this, because I think it's more, because you can't just a foreigner can't directly. I don't think that they can directly contribute to a campaign. I think that it was more complicated than that. Defund police is only a small part of BLM. I don't think it is. I don't think that from a political narrative that it is. What is the news story? What is the thing that people are talking about? There's a vote to defund the police in Portland and Seattle, and it's going through. This is a big deal. I mean, the media might not give it, mainstream media might not give it as much attention as it probably deserves, but it's a huge deal. It's a huge deal because people are concerned that they're basically going to undermine the police and make us less safe. That's the concern. So is defund the police? It's a pretty big part of BLM, I think. But even beyond that, the whole movement is basically premised on the fact that police are harsher on black offenders. That's the whole foundation of the movement. how do you continue to have that be a big deal if your main VP president is like one of the worst offenders, right? The Democrats are going to sweep it under the rug. They are. Because I'm telling you what, these BLM guys, they're not going to be happy about Kamala, right? Wouldn't be surprised if they start holding signs about her, negative signs about her in protests, right? Being killed by police, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I start to see stuff about, because they don't like her. So if you're a Democrat, do you really want that in the news? No. You're going to suppress it. So I don't be surprised if you hear less about BLM protests in the next few weeks, so that Kamala doesn't drag the ticket down too much. I don't find the E-mini hard to trade. No, Algo's here enjoying the crude market too. You know, the crude market hasn't been too bad lately. From looking at it. I know this because I know my country, and my country tried to bribe Trump to no avail. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. Usually it's a referendum election. If you're going to say that it's a referendum election against Donald Trump, then I think that you're just only seeing it from the Democrat perspective. Because many people do not see it that way. I think that for people in the middle in particular, that it's basically is turning into, okay, get rid of Donald Trump because he has such high negatives, or defund the police. Like, you gotta realize these things that a lot of Democrats are proposing are pretty extreme and aren't supported by a majority of moderate voters. So Democrats have every reason to try and make it into about Donald Trump. But like the whole thing is they keep doing stuff to kind of give people an excuse to keep him in, right? If it means putting BLM in charge, then I vote for whoever you want. I'd vote for Hillary to stop this defund the police thing from taking over. No joke. Man, that's probably the craziest thing I've said. I would vote for Hillary in X circumstance, apparently. Like that, some of these, the woke movement, I would rather vote for Hillary than watch the woke movement take over the U.S. government. Hell to the no. So many bad ideas over there. I see that from the perspective that they have more than 30% and the minority can only... I'm not sure what you mean by that. The wealthy have left New York and are leaving California, with Harris and Biden soon higher taxes leaving for Mexico. Lewis, did you see these videos where like this guy is walking around LA and he's like, look, all of these apartment complexes are offering you incentives to get an apartment there. And everybody, all of his friends, everybody that he knows was basically waiting for the whole rent thing to end, and now they're moving. So yeah, apparently a lot of people are moving out of a lot of people are just moving in general. Apparently, it's like, you don't have a job, why not? It'll be interesting. Well, hey, it has been an hour now, so I think that an hour is long enough. A good chat though. I wish I was a little bit less scatterbrained at the beginning, but you know what? It's that time of day when my brain goes to mush. I think I'm gonna go eat something. Utah, here we come. Yeah, whatever. I don't think that enough of you could vote in to ever make Utah not be Republican. And you know what? Most people that I know that move over here from liberal states, they become more Republican over time. Or at the very least, moderate. If they find me speaking about that, they are gonna actually shove a huge glass bottle. Dude, stay safe, Salim. We have a friend, our Chinese friend. I think he's okay, but I worry about him from time to time because he was really active during the whole trade war stuff, and we haven't heard from him. I was thinking, oh no, did the CCP get him? Oh no. As long as they have sister wives, they will remain Republican. Oh jeez. There are a few polygamists in Utah, but it's not really a thing. It's like a dozen people. Yeah, go Joe. Sunday drivers. Really? You're really getting on it. Now that Kamala Harris is his vice president, you're all in for Joe Biden, huh? Okay. Oh, guys. This fun stuff. Okay. Well, tomorrow is probably going to be a big day, so I think I'm going to go and relax. Plan to vote twice. Don't tell people that, KR. You might trigger an investigation. Douglas, you guys are asking me questions. I'm like, I'm ready to go. No, I have to answer that question. Douglas, well, isn't the Dom useless against Ninja Trader ATM strategy? No, I don't think so. Not at all. So the thing is, and let me show you just here on the Dom. Dom is the most efficient order entry system that you can possibly have. So you come over here. I'm going to bring this little thing over here for you. All right. Let's put it over here. So I can kind of change which order type I'm using. This auto thing, though, will select the type of order that I want automatically for me based on where I click. So if I click over here at, this 12.5, that'll put in a limit order, right? Cancel. I put it over in this one, it will create a stop order, right? And it switches around over here, right? That one's a limit order, and that one's a stop order, right? So can I do this sort of a thing, right? Cancel. Combine these. You really can't do that. Now, if you do it in the charts, you can trade on the charts, but you have to right click. Can you really accurately select? I have to come over here and look over to the right to see which price I have selected, right? So that's where the advantage of the DOM is. And then in the DOM, I can still select strategies, right? I can still have something that will follow me or whatever my strategy is. So that's really the advantage. And then the next thing is that I can see the level 2 right there. So I know where the line is, and I can kind of try and slip my way in there if I need to. And I can see all of these instruments across the screen all at once, which is really hard to do with a chart, right? But because all I have to see is if this moved up or down, I can see all of these instruments at the same time. So I made an article about this, a video. It's about scalping in fast markets, where I talk about it a little bit more. But the basic gist of it is that if you're trading in a fast market, the depth of market is the most efficient method of entering your orders. Isn't Jigsaw an algo product? Not really. I mean, they have a couple of strategies, but it's really basic. It's mostly just a really good depth of market. And they're adding charts, but probably the one that's most complicated in terms of algos for order entry is Trading Technologies. Yeah. Thanks, Speculator Seth. Will everyone please hit the like button before Seth goes off to relax, hug the sister wives, and send money off to Biden's campaign? No. I have one. I only have one wife. I have no interest in having more, and I'm not going to donate to Joe Biden's campaign. Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. If you want to talk more about it, I am here every morning, 8:20 Eastern time. So I will see you guys then. In the meantime, stay profitable, friends. Here, we'll show you guys the Patreon supporters. Have a good night.